Do you ever feel like an outsider? You feel like a stranger in a strange land? Have you ever felt lonely in a full room? I know I have. And today I would like to share a little bit about it. A little bit of social anxiety, a little bit of star star challenges on a little block of earth. So for most of my life I was very sensitive, and I didn't know what sensitive meant. For most of my life, including at some stages now, I felt socially awkward. I felt like I don't belong. I felt like strange. I felt different. I felt like I don't fit in. And for the early part of my life, I developed all sorts of coping mechanisms for that, alcohol being one, drugs, those sorts of things, but also this mirroring sort of idea of being a chameleon, trying to fit in. So trying to change myself to be like the environment and the people and the ways of being, trying to fit in by changing myself to be like what felt uncomfortable to me. And I thought if I could do that, I mean subconsciously, then I could fit in, then I feel comfortable. But of course it never worked. If you have to change yourself to fit into something, you're not being yourself, so you're not going to be comfortable. You're just trying to squeeze yourself into something that you're not, to try and fit in with an environment that maybe you're not meant to fit into. And I found as I began my remembering process and awakening process, I found more and more people that were like me, and more people that kind of felt the same, and it was much easier at times. But yesterday I was at an event, and it was with all my sort of people. I mean, literally it was all my sort of people with the same kind of values, same ideas, same focus. And it was a big event, and a friend had shared with me about it. And it was really interesting because, again, beautiful event. Everything was beautiful about the event. There's nothing about the event and the people. But I completely felt disconnected from the people. And there was one being, the being that invited me there. We had a beautiful connection. But I felt like completely disconnected. I felt like completely didn't feel like I wanted to speak with anyone. I felt like, again, it wasn't like uncomfortable. Actually, it wasn't really uncomfortable, but it was very interesting how I could be in a room full of really aligned people, really aligned with how I see the world, and their visions for the world is beautiful, and like beautiful music. But I just felt completely foreign, completely alien, completely different. There were certain times like I was like absolutely like, it's just, I'm like in a completely different reality. And again, it's not about one reality is better than the other or anything like that. It's not that at all. But I came to understand something today about this, that each one of us are so completely unique, and we go through cycles and stages, and we go through shifts, and we go through a falling away of who we are. And building up a resiliency and an ability to be getting comfortable being uncomfortable is a very valuable skill, and it's something that I feel all of us on this path can really benefit from. And there are times that the reality will show you that there's just certain times, there's certain places, certain spaces where you're just not aligning anymore. It's not wrong or bad or good or bad. It's just the reality is showing you that there is something different calling you. There's something more calling you. So if you feel socially awkward, if you feel at times lonely in a full room, if you feel like maybe your social circle or even your spiritual circle or whatever, you seem to be diverging from it, you seem to be shifting from it, or something that really aligned and really resonated before seems to be moving off. It's really important to be able to let that go, and really important to not try and cling on to something because it's supposed to work, or it's the people that you're supposed to be with. Again, what I'm sharing here is absolutely no reflection on this event, the people, the beautiful things that were shared. It's absolutely nothing to do with that at all. And it's completely about a shift that is occurring within me that is taking me to something different that I have no idea. Well, I do have an idea, but so it's important to be able to let go of what was before and allow what is becoming. So like when we plant a seed, you think about the seed of this tree, or the seed of these roses behind. I don't even know, does a rose grow from a seed? But let's just use a seed. You know, the seed that begins looks absolutely nothing like this. And the seed to become what it's become has to die to its what its nature is. Like the seed has to break open and something has to burst forth from within it. And what is bursting forth from within it looks absolutely nothing like what the seed looks like. But the full potential of the fruit, the tree, the new state of being, the transformation is fully existent within the seed. So it's important to allow ourselves to let go of any fixed ideas of who, you know, who I'm to be with or what works for me. If your body, your being, your spirit is showing you very clearly that it is not. And again, this is an art. This is not a. There is a science to it, but it's not like cut and like black and white. There's infinite shades of grey. So again, just going back, there's many times being in environments that really challenge us, being in environments that with people who bring out parts of ourselves that maybe wouldn't come out so easily. There's real benefit in that. I'm not talking about challenging ourselves. I'm not talking about the real growth in triggers and environments that bring out different things within us. I'm really talking about when your environment is clearly showing you. Again, it wasn't judgment of what was going on. I wasn't feeling uncomfortable with what has been shared. Everything was in total alignment and I totally agreed and I loved it and it's beautiful. It was just like my consciousness was saying, you're in a different space now. You're in a different space now. And it was very clear. So I actually left the event very early. And it was just interesting because before, let's say the old pattern when I was younger, would be trying to be the chameleon, which was very interesting, being a chameleon in an environment where I would normally be totally thriving and totally aligned and totally like joyfully connecting with other people, you know. And it's interesting how I would trying to like fit into something that I easily fitted into before. So I just thought I would share today that it was an interesting realization that even in an environment where we feel like we should be completely aligned now, these shifts are happening very quickly. And it was one of the subjects they talked about on the in the event was that these shifts are going to happen so rapidly now. So if you find yourself in circumstances, places, events, groups, whatever it happens to be, and they were totally aligned before, and you just felt like this was your life mission, your life purpose, your life people, these were your life people. Souls go through these soul groupings, come together, and we talked about it in one of these other videos recently from Costa Rica. Soul mates, soul family will come together and apart and together and apart at different stages of the life experience for certain purposes. And the one thing is constant is change. And the human ego and the little human and the little me wants constancy. It wants like something, it actually wants death, but it thinks it wants safety. It doesn't want death. I think it looks at everything, it looks at change as death. But it wants to try and control and keep everything the same. And it thinks whenever things change that it's death, but actually the one thing is constant in life is evolution, is change, is becoming. And if we try and hold down life, it's like trying to hold this tree and stop it from growing, try and stop the flowers from growing. We're just moving against the natural nature of life. And our natural nature is to grow, is to evolve, is to expand, is to become more and more of who we already are. But if we try and hold on to who we were, hold on to what was, if we try and hold on to what worked before, what is working through us and as us cannot become what it is to become. And that's why we get sick, that's why we feel stagnant. When we stay in environments, stay in ideas, stay in belief systems, this can be extrapolated to any level of human experience. It's always, its nature is to reach for the sun, to reach for the soul, to reach for the light, to become more of who we are. But if we hold ourselves in a pattern or an idea just because that's the way it's supposed to be, or that's what worked before, or these are my people. Again, I'm not saying that these people are not my people. They are my people. They are our people. It's that I had like really beautiful experience as well. It's just that the environment will tell you at a certain period, okay, there's something different. There's something more. There's a new avenue. And we could spend years, I spent years in my younger life before my remembering of like really staying stuck and stagnant in a place that just I had outgrown. I had like diverged from. And especially when we've moved into this path of conscious remembering, and we've moved into a path, and maybe with a certain group of people, or we're on a certain pathway of remembering, and it serves a certain, role for a period of time, and we think that's going to be for life. And actually one day we just realize, actually this has taken me as far. It could be a teacher, or it could be a teaching, it could be a group, or it could be whatever it is. It has served its purpose. But if we hold on to that, we do not serve our own purpose, and we do not serve the purpose of life, of ever expanding growth, expansion, evolution, of becoming who we already are. So the invitation is today for this one is to see, where am I still holding to old ideas. We're back in Portal, which has been a beautiful, beautiful part of our journey. But it's very clear for us that we are being called on a new journey. And yesterday really confirmed that. It's very paradoxical the way it was, and maybe share about it another time. But I'd just like to keep it brief today, is to see, where are you still holding on to an idea that has run its course? Where are you still holding on to an identity of yourself that served, again, the challenge is that maybe it's served a very beautiful purpose and has been really beneficial in your life, or a group of people, or a teaching, and it has run its course, it's served its purpose, it's completed, it's done what it's meant to do. Now we've been called to grow, to expand, to evolve, to move into new ways. But because we have free will, we have the ability of holding ourselves in a holding pattern where we will not allow the next level of our being to be revealed to ourselves. Again, this is where sickness is, this is where illness comes in, this is where big accidents, this is where big, huge life transformations have to come to get us to let go. When actually it's just as simple as letting go and let the water flow as it goes beside us here, and let it take us with intention, not being taken away like we're without choice, but let the flow of life, the evolution of life, let what is reflecting us. Again, the art show is what is reflecting to us, showing me that I am to sit in something and get comfortable being uncomfortable? Or is it just clearly showing me that this has run its course? There is something new. It's time to let go and let glow and let yourself move on. I'd love to hear from you. How are you experiencing this? How have you experienced this? Have you dealt with it well in the past? And I haven't dealt with well in the past, but I have developed some tools now of very deeply trusting my intuition, very deeply trusting and knowing that I'm in the right place at the right time with the right people, exactly in the way. And whenever I know that has run its course, I trust. I do trust in being, the decisions kind of made for me now, because I'm very trusting in that I am exactly where I need to be, and that whenever that is showing that that is coming to an end, it's very easy for me to let go and move on there. In the past it hasn't. And so that's developing a real self trust in your own intuitive knowing, not second guessing, not questioning that your inner guidance, that inner truth, not what anyone else says, not what's supposed to be. And we develop that by, developing our own self-confidence is by following our gut, by following our instinct and not denying it. Because whenever we follow it, it will flow through us. It will move us. Whenever we go against it, then it has to in some way do something so that the seed will crack, so that the next level of being can come through. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. This has been a little morning soul flow about the challenges of feeling like a little bit of an alien, feeling like a little bit of an outsider, and how that was a beautiful experience instead of a traumatic experience like most of my childhood yesterday. And maybe if you resonate with this, I would love to hear your stories and how you're experiencing that. And in this time, these experiences I feel will be coming quicker and quicker. And if we have the tools to deal with them, that can be more and more beneficial, or it can be more and more painful. I am on a life mission to ignite, unite and highlight 144,000 heart leaders living and giving their unique genius in the world, and to impact and inspire the next 7 generations on earth, leaving a legacy of love. If that sounds like you, let us know in the comments and join us on this journey of becoming a true heart leader, becoming the ones we have been waiting for. Until next time, from my heart to yours, the divine in me sees, loves and honors the divine in you. Namaste. We are